In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front forward lower control arm on this Audi A4. This is going to be located behind the front tires. Let's get into it. In the trunk, lift up where the spare tire is. You can see where the toolbox is right here. Just lift the handle, slide this out. You can open this up. Inside, here's the ring that we're looking for. Now, using the tool from the trunk, just put that in the hole in the center cap, and you can pull the center cap out. Using a 17mm socket, take the lug bolts off. Before I take the last one, I'm just going to hold the wheel on so it doesn't fall. Grab the wheel, slide it off. Underneath the lower ball joint on the other control arm, I'm just going to put a pole jack just to support everything while this comes apart. Using an 18mm wrench, I'll take the nut off right here. Using an 18mm socket, take this bolt out. Pull that bolt out. Now we're going to remove the upper part of the link. I'm going to use a 13mm wrench on the bolt and 15mm wrench on the nut. Loosen this up. Pull that bolt out. Make sure it's separated. I can tip the link down. Remove this nut, use an 18mm socket. Now we're going to separate the ball joint from the knuckle and just tap it with a hammer. There is other front end tools you could use to try to separate this. If you don't have one, just use a hammer. We can just tap right here as well. Or you can use an air hammer. Out. Now it took the sleeve out with it, so we're just going to have to separate that after. Using an 18mm wrench on the nut, 18mm socket on this bolt, loosen this up. I'm going to use a pry bar just to pull that bolt out. There we go, there's the bolt. Just pull the arm down. To make it easier, you could disconnect the sway bar link on the other side so you can tip this down. Just lower the pole jack. Get that out of the way. And there's the arm. Now we're going to separate that sleeve because our ball joint came off with the sleeve. Just use a puller. It's going to work. Pops out. Now we're going to push that sleeve back in. I just have a threaded rod with some nuts on the end. We'll just tighten this down. As we tighten it, it's going to push it in. I'll separate the tool. Take the new arm, get that lined up, get that started. I'm just using a rubber mallet. Just tap this in place. Might have to pry it back a little bit. Just take a screwdriver, just get this to line up. A straight blade screwdriver or a Phillips would work as well. That's lined up. And you want to take a new bolt. These are torque to yield bolts. Get that lined up. Just using a 18mm ratchet wrench just to get the bolt started. And put the nut on. Snug that down, not too tight. We are going to torque this later. We just want to raise up the suspension before we do that. Now we'll tighten this nut down. Just get that snug first. And we'll torque this to 80 foot-pounds. That's good. Now with the pull jack underneath, I'm just going to raise this up a little bit just so the shock is close. But before we put the shock in, we want to put the link in. Get the link lined up. Get the bolt started. Put the nut on. Then I'm going to torque this to 30 foot-pounds, and then with a torque angle meter, if you have one, you want to go an additional 90 degrees. If you don't have one, do the best you can. That's good. And take the shock, slide that back, put the shock bolt in, get the nut started. I'll just snug this down. But before we tighten it, we want to raise the suspension so that it's as close to ride height as possible. It would be ideal to have all four wheels on the ground and then torque this bolt and also the bushing bolt, but it's not that easy to do. So just make this a little safer. I'm going to move this over so it doesn't slip. Raise up the suspension, and we'll torque this bolt to 66 foot-pounds. Now this bolt we're going to torque to 51 foot-pounds, and then an additional 180 degrees. Good. Now we can lower the pole jack. Slide that out of the way. Now take the wheel, install the wheel, get the hole lined up. Take the lug bolt, get that started. Once you get one in, you can let go of the wheel and get the other one started. and snug those down. Now I'm going to torque the lug bolts to 90 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Just going to go around again, double check. Take the center cap, you can line that circle, the hole with the valve stem, and push it on. Take the little hook, put it back in the tool kit, and close it up. Put it back where it goes, lift the handle, and put the handle down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.